music with my bro. Willing to dig it, yes or no? Here we go on with the show, the Hear Me Out Bro podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 20 of the Hear Me Out Bro podcast. I'd like to welcome my brother Clark.
Happy Christmas, y'all.
So this week, we're doing our Christmas special. If you want to listen along to the songs on our playlist, or listen to our previous episodes, or check out our previous playlists, you can find us on YouTube at HMOBP. So tonight's playlist is going to be all our favorite Christmas songs. So if you want something to listen to while you're opening presents or drinking eggnog or hanging out with family.
Or driving to grandma's house.
Yeah, or taking a sleigh through the woods.
Yep.
To grandma's house. Yeah, you can dial up our Christmas playlist to keep you company. And if you want to reach out to us, you can send us an email at hearmeoutbropodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, show ideas, critiques, you can find us there. And if you want to join our Facebook community, you can follow our page, the HMOB, on Facebook. And so with that, we'll go ahead and jump into our Christmas playlist.
All right. So we're going to mix it up. The younger brother's going to go first this week. I had more picks than Eric this time. And when we were discussing the topic for this episode, I thought, as is the case with almost all our episodes, it's like, oh yeah, I think I have like 4 or 5 songs I could add. And it's like 12 songs later, we have to pare down the playlist so the episodes aren't 5 hours long. So I had a couple Christmas songs in mind, a couple Christmas songs that I really like. And I started thinking about it and, of course, remembered a whole bunch more. And my Christmas tastes are kind of like either end of the spectrum. Like, I'm not just like a regular Coca-Cola, Santa Claus, shopping mall, Mariah Carey, Christmas music kind of Christmas person. It's like I'm either like bah humbug or just like totally schmaltzy, like sappy, traditional, old school. So I don't know. I'm either like, and maybe this is like horseshoe theory or whatever, that it's like, the two ends of the spectrum. It's not a straight line; it's a curved line.
Uh-huh.
Right in between them. But like, I'm either like dressing up for Dickens Fair and saying Happy Christmas and drinking a hot buttered rum, or I'm like, the hill I'm going to die on is that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and I will fight you if you disagree.
Speaking of Christmas movies and playlists, do you have any favorite Christmas movies
Die Hard.
besides Die Hard? Anything you watch every year?
Not every year. I mean, Elf is a new classic.
Yeah.
It's an old classic at this point. Elf is good. I don't know. No, not really.
You don't watch It's a Wonderful Life every December?
Although there is a movie that I do watch and I've made people watch who didn't find it as incredible as I do, but it will feature later on in the playlist.
Oh, cool. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then,
I save it for that.
Yeah. And like the Christmas movies and Christmas movie traditions will come up later in the podcast too, later in the episode. What about you?
We watch
go-to Christmas.
We like cheesy Christmas movies. We watch Christmas with the Cranks almost every year.
Nice.
And we watch this really dumb movie called The Mistletones. And it's about like this Christmas pageant singing group. I don't know, it's kind of dorky. And then we watched Die Hard.
Nice.
And another movie we watched this year was called Dear Santa.
Okay.
And it was actually pretty good. It had Jack Black in it. And the premise was it was this dyslexic kid that wrote a letter to Santa, and he addressed it to Dear Satan. And so the letter like goes down to hell, and Jack Black's character tries to make a deal with him, like give him 3 Christmas wishes or whatever for his soul. And I don't know, it was pretty entertaining.
Sounds pretty
It was
good.
made by the guys that did Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it looks like a kid's movie, but it's worth checking out.
Okay.
It's pretty silly.
Nice.
Like Post Malone's in it too.
Cool. All righty. Should we start off with some tunes?
Sure.
All right. So sometimes you come across a song that's both maltz and bah humbug at the same time. So this is one of my favorites. This is the Pogues, Fairy Tale of New York.
That's a good one. I'm a total introvert, and I don't like big crowds.
Uh-huh.
My daughter and I, we were watching a movie last night. It was one of those like New York Christmas kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And we were both like kind of thinking it would be cool to like experience a New York type Christmas at least once in life, but it would be like kind of torture for us at the same time.
Right.
I can see the appeal of like New York at Christmas time. Might not be for me, but I can see the appeal of it.
Yeah. Like if you kind of squint your eyes, ignore some of the crappy parts and how expensive it is. And
right. And as long as you get out of there before New Year's Eve.
Yeah, or take a page from Sam McGowan and stick around for New Year's Eve and be 3 sheets to the wind. And then you won't even care.
True.
Then you'll be the drunk
maybe.
a-hole.
Yeah, be the bad neighbor.
Yep. Traditional Christmas movie that just came up. Christmas Vacation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't be born with the name
Classic.
Clark and not like. Yeah. So many
That's
quotes that would require being bleeped out.
Okay. This next song is The Pretenders with 2,000 Miles. I love that song.
Yeah, it's a good song. So were they at the North Pole or the South Pole?
I think that was the South Pole because there was penguins there.
But there was a polar bear.
But there was no Santa. Was there a Santa?
Well, there was a relic Neanderthal construction worker dressed as Santa.
Oh, well, North Pole then.
Just with the anomalous penguin.
Yeah.
Well, the relic Neanderthal construction worker Santa reminded me of another Christmas movie, Rare Exports. Is
that weird Finnish one?
Yeah, it's from Finland.
Yeah, I think I have seen that one.
It's good.
It's got like the kid in it and like the creepy Santa. Yeah.
The army of creepy Santas.
Weird troll Santa.
Yeah. And Krampus is pretty good too.
Yeah. That one is pretty good. Better than you would think.
Yeah. Even though I don't really like that depiction of Krampus. I do like the creepy German grandmother and stuff is good. It's just like I like the OG Alpine traditional freaky beast man Krampus.
Well, yeah, and that movie that you were talking about from Finland, like it's a weird, like sensationalized kind of movie, but it's also like pretty accurate to like if you've ever wondered what life in Finland is like. It's like a pretty accurate representation of like normal life in Finland.
Oh yeah.
Other than
I've watched enough Hydraulic Press Channel on YouTube to know that's your everyday, except during the summer when you race feeder rally cars.
Yeah, when you change from your spiked snow tires to your mud rally tires. Yeah. There might be like a little 6 degrees of separation thing going on with my playlist too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll point them out as we get there.
I do like how Chrissy Hines freezes at the end of the video.
Uh-huh.
You're like, wait, what happened? Wait, the camera's still moving. What?
Oh, that song was written about James Honeyman Scott. He passed away of a drug overdose in 1982.
Hmm.
So she wrote that song kind of about him.
Okay.
He was the original lead guitarist for the Pretenders.
Oh, okay.
All right, what's your next pick?
So I think on one of the episodes, we talked about how I used to drive around in a mail truck with a really crappy AM radio. The only station that I got reliably was like an AM mono oldies station.
Yeah.
And so during Christmas time, they would play a lot of these songs. And it was like, okay, these are some of the ones I can stand.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Yeah, I
like,
think our original premise for the Christmas special is Christmas songs that don't suck.
yeah, my next couple picks are pretty cheesy, but it's like, it's still pretty cool. Like, come on. Like, it's Christmas. Like,
Yeah.
unfreeze your heart.
Yeah, and if there's any time of year to like act like a kid again,
Yeah.
it's like Christmas is a good one.
I love cheesy stuff. Yeah, eat a bunch of cheese, enjoy the cheese. So this is the Beach Boys, Little Saint Nick. Yeah, pretty
It's a sweet Deuce Coupe in there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb, but it's like it's about a hot rod. Come on, Christmas.
Walk a toboggan
Yeah,
with a 4-speed stick.
what a cool visual. Like, yeah, he doesn't need a sleigh anymore.
Yeah.
He's got this hot rod, this candy apple red hot rod.
Yeah, if you ever do build a Deuce Coupe, hang on to the fenders because you might want them someday.
Do you?
Yeah, Santa has sensibly left the fenders on his Deuce Coupe.
Oh yeah, well he's like thousands of years old. He's seen plenty of gravel in his day.
It's kind of funny that you picked the Beach Boys because, like, that's like my band.
That's your wheelhouse. Yeah, you're the
Yeah.
Beach Boys fan.
It's like, yeah. I think you're picking a lot of stuff that I should have picked
Mm-hmm.
but didn't pick.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you picked a bunch of my favorites, but they weren't songs that I picked for the playlist.
Yeah,
For one reason or another.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like we picked like the same song, but you have the harder, heavier version of it.
The rocked up version of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, mine's as rock and roll as you can. Well, yours is somehow
Yeah.
even more rock and roll.
All right. My next pick
Yep.
is my first 6 degrees of separation thing. Well, yeah, I'll talk about that afterwards. This is the Kinks with Father Christmas.
Man, the Kinks are so cool,
I love the Kinks.
especially
Yeah,
like,
they're just
like
they're great.
early Kinks. Like get all the for legit reasons, like all the attention, but like later Kinks, like they did such cool stuff.
Oh, yeah. They're always great.
Like it's not a Christmas song, but it talks about Christmas in it. They did a soundtrack for like I can't remember if it was a mini series or like a TV show or like a TV movie called Arthur.
Oh, right.
And like the soundtrack for it is like it's so rad.
Yeah.
And they have a song about going to Australia and like surfing on sunny
I love
Christmas
that song.
Day. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so good.
Yeah, that was released as a single in 1977. And it's a killer song, and it just happens to be about Christmas. So.
Yeah.
And it's the Kinks.
What's not to
And
like?
yeah, and during the 80s, Ray Davies and Chrissy Hind were an item, and they have a daughter together. So that's my first Christmas 6 degrees of separation on my playlist.
Nice.
That's not why I put them back to back, but it just ended up that way.
Yep.
All right, what's your next pick?
So, like, I never worked retail during Christmas, but I worked delivery during Christmas. So it's a lot of the same drudgery and bad attitudes and people freaking out, but you're out. Yeah. Instead of being trapped inside with everybody, you're out in the freezing cold. So who's to say what's better or worse? They're both terrible. Be nice to your delivery people. Be nice to people at shops.
Yeah, if you go out shopping or if you're interacting with people, like, I don't know, do what you need to do, but like just give yourself some extra time and like take an extra dose of chill. It'll make it go better for them and for you.
Be kind and be of good cheer. So yeah, I would always have to like really like go out of my way that it's just like, no, I'm not going to get bitter. Like Christmas is supposed to be fun. And you know, a lot of that was like sticking my fingers in my ears and going fa la 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 la. Ignore all the BS and the horrible Christmas music that they would pipe in and the like crappy corporate Christmas stuff.
Uh-huh.
A lot of that was like, no, I'm gonna have a couple Christmas albums and I'm gonna play them on a loop while I'm out delivering packages and stuff. And it's like one of my coworkers hated this song and like couldn't understand why I liked it. And it's like, how can you not like this song? Like you have no heart. Like you're made out of ice if this can't melt your heart. So this is the Jackson 5. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Oh man. That song's so rad.
It rips. Like little Michael is just rushing it. It's so good. And it's like it's so on the one. Like it's not like Santa Claus. It's Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah, I love how they break it down like that halftime funky groove.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that's like the best version of that song because it's like sung with the conviction of someone who still believes in Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's just like he was a tiny kid and he had that much talent. I'm like, yeah,
how could anybody not like that one?
It's so good.
Yeah, he might have believed in Santa for like.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about older Michael Jackson.
Okay. Well, let's just keep it in Funky Town then.
Yeah, that's why I brought up the one. Like it's all on the one.
So my next pick is James Brown, Go Power at Christmas Time. Yeah, if you like that whole album, James Brown's Funky Christmas, it's amazing. It's like, that was my go-to Christmas music. Yeah, he was one of the first ones where when I listened to like nonstop James Brown at Christmas, like he passed away on Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to pick mostly people that have already gone to the other side just to be safe. But hopefully it's just like Christmas trip driving music that applied to.
Right.
Hopefully nothing comes of my playlist. But yeah, James Brown's Funky Christmas. That song's from 1970.
Yeah, James Brown rules.
Oh man, yeah. He's got some great like kind of bluesy tunes on there too, and like strong ballads and like yeah, just total Christmas spirit stuff too. Just James Brown was amazing.
Totally. Speaking of amazing, I got another sort of cheesy Christmas classic, oldies Christmas classic.
Oh man, the original.
Yeah. I thought this is like the most rock and roll Christmas song ever, but your version is somehow more rock and roll. So first up, we have Chuck Berry, Run, Run, Rudolph.
Okay.
The
Yeah, a
comic book
couple things.
visualizer on it. Oh man, it's so
Yeah. A couple things on that one. Okay, I got a second Chuck Berry that electric guitar is an excellent Christmas gift.
good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but then like I guess it's a little sexist. Like the boy gets an electric guitar, but the girl wants a baby doll that can cry, drink, and wet.
Yeah.
And then it pops out and it's a little Chuck Berry doll.
Uh-huh.
So like what's like the wet thing there? Does like the little Chuck Berry doll like pee his pants and like you got to change Chuck Berry's diaper or like what's the
I don't know. I'm not taking my either my hot rod sleigh or my Cadillac sleigh down that road.
okay.
As much as I love Chuck Berry and how I think he's probably one of the coolest dudes who ever lived, he wrote a lot of songs about high school girls.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of songs about Bobby Soxers.
Yeah. I don't think he came up with the visuals for this. Or
No,
the comic book visualizer.
I don't think so either. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And Chuck Berry was our crazy horse on our Mount Rushmore. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, man, he has such a cool voice too. Like the way he sings, it's just like, man, it's so good.
He wrote so many great songs.
And like I've talked about how much I love Rory Gallagher and his phrasing and how unique it is. Like the way he sings and like the word choices and the sentence structure. And like Chuck Berry does like the same kind of, he has a similar kind of like, man, not everybody says it that way, but that's like the coolest way you could say that.
Yeah.
Or like, or that's a weird way of phrasing that, but like you pulled it off. Like I never would have thought it would sound that cool that way.
Yeah. That's one thing I wanted to talk about with our guitar player episode, that guitar players that also sing, they have a different guitar playing style because like when you sing, you need to take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
And so their phrasing is more vocal. And like Chuck Berry, like he wanted his guitar to sound like a saxophone.
Okay.
So like if you're soloing and you have to take a breath, like your phrasing is more like conversational, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you know, like a shredder guitar player, they can just keep going a million miles an hour, you know, with like, they never stop to take a breath.
Right.
But like the best guitar players, it mimics the human voice. You know, there's breaks where the breath is going to be.
Right. Yeah. Our first instrument, as we learned last week. Special bonus video last week.
Yeah, I almost want to put my song right after this one, or my Run Run Rudolph right after this one.
We could switch it up. Like I didn't want to stick them back to back, but
yeah, it'll make a better Christmas playlist if we just leave them as is. But
okay.
All right, my next pick is Larry Norman with Christmas Time. So, yeah, it's Larry Norman. I don't know, he's got such like a sneery, like Mick Jagger kind of voice, you know? And yeah, it's just a total like anti-commercialism kind of Christmas song.
Right. I totally appreciate.
Yeah, Larry Norman's an interesting bird or cat or whatever he is. He's like the father of Christian rock. Yeah. He lived in Salem, Oregon, and was like kind of a fixture around there with like like some of the punker kids and stuff.
Okay.
And he also was a huge influence, like kind of the main influence for Black Francis from the Pixies.
Oh, yeah.
Because Black Francis grew up in a Christian type household, and he wasn't allowed to listen to any rock and roll music.
Okay.
And so like
That makes
he
a lot
heard
of
Larry
sense.
Norman and was just like totally blown away. It was like, that's what I want to do.
Interesting.
Anyways. Yeah. So, I mean, he's a Christian rock guy, but he's like, a lot of Christian type people didn't like him because he would talk about drugs and stuff and like kind of the bad side of life. And, you know, yeah. So,
yeah, they weren't just like praise songs.
Yeah. He'd talk about like the dangers of getting gonorrhea and shooting up heroin and stuff like that. It's like I might do a whole Larry Norman episode. I don't know. We'll see. Might be a convincer.
Okay.
Because he was like a true rock and roller, you know.
Right.
But he just happened to sing about like Christian themes and
from experience, not from like
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was like that one because it's got kind of that Rolling Stones kind of rock and roll kind of feel to it. And I like how he sings about how it's like Christmas is for kids, but like kids can be really bratty around Christmas too.
Totally.
You know, if they don't have a good head on their shoulders.
Yeah. Like I was thinking, like he talks about how like what Christmas used to be.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know, it used to be about the guy who saved our necks.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, from a Christian point of view. But
yeah, now it's about Santa and they spell it with an X.
Yeah. And but when I was thinking about that, I thought of do you know about some of the weird like Spanish traditions around Christmas? Like the what is it, the Paganir? He's this character that they put in nativity scenes, and it's like a Where's Waldo kind of thing to like keep kids occupied.
Oh, interesting.
So it's this little pooping character. It's like bending over and pooping, or squatting down and pooping, and like it's become a thing. So like if you go to like southern Spain, like there's a whole tourist industry of, remember all the like the gift Matryoshka dolls that people would get mom, like the novelty ones. They do the same thing, but with a Cogganeer. Of, you know, it would be like Boris Yeltsin or Donald Trump, you know.
Oh man.
Various celebrities. Kermit the Frog, Mickey Mouse, a lot of Mickey Mouse ones. And you know, like a little porcelain souvenir. Like, oh, here's Spider-Man pooping. Put in your nativity scene. But so the other one is it has a similar name, but I can't remember what it is, but it's like a log, and it's not like a Yule log. It's like this log, and the kids are supposed to like beat it, like whip it and hit it with sticks. And it'll poop out gifts. I don't think it actually does, but like that's what they tell the kids. Like that's where the presents come from.
How weird.
I was just thinking about like, oh yeah, you know, like kids are all like excited and stuff, and they got to burn off energy. It's like
go beat on that log out there.
Hit the log, like you know, there's so many Christmas traditions that are just trying to get kids to behave. Like, oh, Grandma gets you that itchy new sweater. Like, why aren't you wearing it? It's like, I don't like it. It's too itchy.
It's itchy.
And it's like, well, if you don't, the Yule cat's going to eat you. Or the Yule lads are going to come and like mess up your stuff.
Yeah, it's funny how stuff like that becomes traditions.
Yeah, anybody who's not wearing new clothes at Christmas, like they've got to, they get beat up or eaten by something. Like everybody knows, or most people know about Krampus.
Yeah.
But there's Frau Perchta, who's like this witch that lives in the woods up in the mountains. I think if you don't eat your Christmas dinner, I forget what the thing is. There's some like if you're a naughty kid at Christmas time, she'll cut you open and replace all your internal organs with trash and sew you back up.
Oh man.
Like if you don't do something, it's like,
Oh man.
yeah, it's like bratty kids.
How terrifying.
You gotta keep them under control. Freak them out at Christmas time.
Well, why don't you share your next pick and we'll talk about some of the old Ross family Christmas traditions
Yeah.
and a certain terrifying incident that we had around one of those Christmas traditions.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of my Christmas memories and like Christmas, what informs my Christmas spirit is nostalgia. So
Yeah, just pure nostalgia.
yeah, where it's just like, come on,
Yeah.
like that's kind of what the holiday is for.
Yeah, it's good to have tradition.
Yeah, it's good to have tradition. It's good to think about loved ones and stuff, whether they're with you
Good
or not.
memories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reminisce. So this is one that I always remembered Mom loving, and so I can understand why Mom would love this. So this is John Denver and the Muppets, Silent Night.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, it's like there's so much cognitive dissonance in that, but it's like there's all the nostalgia, then there's the like mental image of like bunch of puppets singing in Austrian German starting out the
man.
song. And then it's like one of the things like that's a legit like classic, like come on, like Silent Night,
Yeah.
like you can be
Oh, yeah.
you can be pagan AF and still like Silent Night.
Well, if you're, yeah, or you can watch Silent Night, Deadly Night. I would recommend just watching parts 4 and 5, which star Clint Howard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our
Hang
mom
on,
was like the biggest John Denver fan.
Oh, totally. And like the story of how that song was written is like a total Christmas like tearjerker. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the backstory is like part of the appeal. And if you don't know that, like, come on. And then it's like I've grown to love John Denver on my own. And it took several years, like 5 years before I could listen to John Denver without crying, like missing Mom so much.
Yeah, I'm still not there yet.
Yeah. And I mean, like you have to work through it. Like you have to do it.
Oh man.
Yeah. And
yeah, I remember
it's a process.
Yeah, I brought a guitar to the hospital and sang Sunshine on My Shoulders to her.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's like I'm tearing up right now.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, I could hardly make it through it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were going on a road trip and I was like, yeah, I think I'm ready. And it was,
Oh man.
I think it was like 8 months. I don't know. It wasn't too long. And after Mom had passed away. And we were driving up through like I-5 towards the Oregon border, like total like horse country, like where the Central Valley starts to go up, and it's like it's still a Central Valley, but you're getting a little higher, and you're kind of up in the hills, up in the mountains and stuff before you go over the pass into Oregon before Weed.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, this is like the perfect spot to listen to John Denver. And it was like, couldn't like made it through one song. I remember pulling in to get gas in Weed, California. And just like my eyes were all red and like teary and stuff. And I was like, it's not because I'm stoned. Not because I drove up here to take a picture by your town sign. It's because I listened to John Denver. Yeah, and it's like John Denver has such an amazing voice, and then like his speaking voice, like it's clear as a bell too.
Quality.
Like he could have been like a rad narrator for stuff.
Yeah, reading books and stuff.
Yeah.
Reading novels and just telling stories.
Yeah.
And when I saw him in concert, he had a lot of good stories,
Mhm.
like kind of giving the background of his songs and just telling stories and being goofy.
Mhm. Yeah, and he's got like kind of the same accent. And speaking of Clint Howard, yeah, it's kind of the same accent and like vocal range and that soft kindness of Ron Howard,
Uh-huh.
but like even more like resonant and
Yeah.
bell-like. Yeah, and it's like Ron Howard makes a fantastic narrator, as we all know.
I wonder if John Denver ever got in any fights.
I don't know. Maybe.
What kind of person would like get mad enough at John Denver to like want to fight him?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like once he started talking to you, you would just be like,
You're okay.
I'm not mad anymore.
Totally.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that just can't stand John Denver, but
Yeah, thinks he's too schmaltzy or something.
or they're defective or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Oh yeah.
the Ross traditions. Do we want to talk about the spooky stuff or save the spooky stuff for later? So I don't have anything overtly spooky in the playlist, but there's kind of some weird Christmas time traditions.
Oh, you have more Christmas traditions around the world to share?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess we can set it up because we're talking about mom and stuff like that, and like the Journey's End Clubhouse will come up. But one of the many Christmas traditions around the world is like the English like having a ghost story at Christmas time, like spooky Christmas. We talked about Krampus and like the scary dark Christmas stuff, which, if you're a fan of Krampus at all, Al Ridenhour's book, Krampus and the Old Dark Christmas, I think it's called. Excellent book. He has an excellent podcast called Bone and Sickle. Shout out to Al Ridenhour. Yeah, it's dark, perfect time to tell ghost stories. There's usually a fire crackling and there's spirits in a glass, spirits in the shadows.
Yeah, and it's one of those nights you stay up a little bit late.
Yep. So one of our family Christmas traditions was going over the hill and through the woods. We didn't have to go over a river. Isn't it over a river and through the woods? Or is it over a hill and through the woods? We went over the hill and through the woods to Grandma's house on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, we had two sets of grandparents.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That were like lived in the same county as us. So we would spend Christmas Eve with our mother's parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then Christmas morning, we would go down and spend the day with our father's parents.
Yeah. And so our mother's parents lived in the Journey's End trailer park in like kind of the north side of north central Santa Rosa. You can look for it, but it's no longer there. It got destroyed during the Tubbs fire that destroyed Coffee Park and everything. And they had a clubhouse at this trailer park. And Grandma and Grandpa would always get like dibs on it. They were like the park managers for a while. But it seemed like even after that, they kind of had dibs on the clubhouse at Christmas.
Yeah, it was always just kind of set aside for our family.
Yeah, it's like all the cousins and uncles and just tons of people. Our mom's mom was also like incredibly gregarious. Like she would make friends with anyone. And,
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like people who weren't members of the family would show up at Christmas time and like with their entire family, like on Christmas Eve, like spending time with Kathy Nobles. I thought it was really weird when I was a teenager or like a kid and a teenager that it was like, oh, wait, we're not related to these people? What? Shouldn't they?
Wait, who are these? Wait,
yeah.
Are we related to these people?
Yeah, but it's like,
we're not.
Man,
this is her butcher from Safeway, or this is the guy who works the section where she has season tickets to the Giants games or
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like opening your doors for like people who aren't members of your family, like for people who are members of your family, but also people who aren't related to you is like OG Christmas and Yule and whatever belief wintertime tradition that it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's about gathering together and like breaking bread and like hospitality and like taking care of people and that kind of thing. And so it's like, that's super awesome. Like, way to go, grandma. Like,
Yeah.
she was totally living that. That's pretty awesome. And so, do you want to tell the story? I was really young when it happened. So you might
Oh,
have a better memory of.
we'll get to that, but just a
Oh,
little
okay.
more on the whole clubhouse Christmas
Oh,
thing.
okay.
There was one side of the clubhouse where there was like a little
Yeah.
bar and pool tables, and like that's where the older cousins would hang out and shoot pool and drink beer and stuff.
I never got to go in there. I was always
Yeah, I got
too
to go in
young.
there later on, but yeah, when I was a teenager, we kind of weren't allowed to go in there. Or I guess we could have, but it was just kind of like unspoken off limits for the younger kids to
Mhm.
like stay out of the older kids' hair. But so I also kind of thought that clubhouse Christmases were like kind of boring and lame. But I mean, there's always like tons of cookies and whatever, and we would just hang out and open presents. But like now looking back, it's like those are some of my fondest Christmas memories.
Totally.
And like I used to think the clubhouse was kind of lame, but like when I was a teenager, I'd go and play music there with Grandpa Nobles.
Mhm.
And he had like a country western band, and we would just hang out and just go through the songbook with his buddies. And like now that I'm older, it's like I totally get it. It's like
Yeah.
I would so love to have a clubhouse right now, with like a little stage and tables you can set up and like a kitchen.
This particular clubhouse, when I close my eyes and think of like the great halls in Asgard,
Uh-huh.
Valhalla is just Odin's mead hall. There's Freya has one. Like all the major Norse gods have their own hall in Asgard. And so people like, oh, you're going to like when Vikings die, they go to Valhalla. And it's like, well, no, the second stringers that die in battle, like the true heroes go to Freya's mead hall. So like, yeah, if you get a Valhalla, like, yeah, you're okay. You're not one of the greats. And like I'm in my head canon as a non-theistic heathen is that when the Journey's End clubhouse burned in the Tubbs fire, that it like materialized in Asgard as one of
Oh,
the great
cool.
halls, because
Nice.
that's my memory of it. That it's like
It's there waiting now.
yeah, it's there waiting for us. And
The smoke transported it.
yeah. And it like high ceilings. It was wide, but it was also long. Like
Yeah.
it had like one exit, or well, it had two because it had one out of the kitchen. Like it had a huge stainless steel like industrial kitchen.
Yeah.
It had the pool room with the bar, which I never got to go into because I was always perennially one of the younger kids. And then when I was old enough, we didn't go there anymore.
And it had big bathrooms.
Yeah, big
like
bathrooms
with changing rooms for the swimming pool.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
it had, you could probably set up, I don't know, 50 folding tables. Was it that big?
I don't think it was that big.
But you could set up a lot.
Yeah, you could have a large bingo night there.
Yeah. And it had like
it was I never saw it filled to capacity.
No, never. Even when there were like tables set up, there was still room because like at the end there was like the little stage that also had like a projector screen.
Yeah, you could have movie nights there. They had like they have a lending library.
There was like a little
like
sitting
swap
area.
Paperbacks.
Yeah, with a lending library. And like on either side were like in the middle were like on both sides were sliding glass doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could go in the side or you could come in the main entrance near the pool.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't there a door out of the kitchen too?
Yeah.
Out to the pool
Yeah.
area?
Like to load food in and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there was like a countertop, like a big like pass through thing into the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
rad place.
Yeah. And they always had like art classes going on there.
Yeah.
Or just bingo or cards or game night or those old people like the World War II generation, they totally knew how to live.
Totally.
Get along with people,
Mm-hmm.
make friends like at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, they had some backwards ideas too, but like
Right.
at Journey's End Clubhouse, man.
I don't know. I kind of almost wouldn't mind living in a trailer park, once I get older. I kind of wish I had bought grandma's trailer or something. I think Tim did.
Yeah, it's
sure.
like, you have just enough yard to do stuff with without having to like, gotta get the lawnmower
have a
out.
bunch of upkeep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're older and like, if I was single, I would totally like live in a trailer park down by the Sacramento River because it's a little cooler there. You could have the clubhouse thing and like you could just go fishing all the time. You could walk out your door and there's even like they have their own little boat ramps and stuff going into the river.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like you could just get a little fishing boat and just drop in the river and go fishing all day and then just come home and you're like right there. It's like total recreation paradise.
Does it ever flood down there though?
Not too bad. I mean, it could. Yeah, but they're up a bit too.
Okay.
Because they have the wheels underneath, so they're higher than a house sits.
True.
So
Having a clubhouse as an adult.
Yeah. So one Christmas Eve, we were coming home. It was super late.
Oh,
it was super foggy.
Yeah, we're gonna.
If anybody lives in Sonoma County, then they know how foggy it can get sometimes, where you can only see tens of feet in front of you.
Yeah.
And so we're going back up over Shenate. This is before Fountain Grove was put in. So we're going back up over Shenate. And when we got near the hospital, this woman was running down the middle of the road. And she was super pale and just crazy hair. And she was in this like white, I mean, she looked like a ghost. And she had these ribbons hanging from her arms. And she was running around in the intersection and trying to stop cars as in the middle of the street and like screaming and stuff. And it was just like something out of a horror movie. And fortunately, yeah, it totally scared the crap out of me. I was like, what is this? It's like something you would imagine from a horror movie.
Totally.
But unfortunately, it was a woman who was there under psychiatric supervision.
Yeah.
And so the things hanging from her arms were wrist restraints. And she was in a white hospital gown. And she just wanted to get home to see her family for Christmas. So she was trying to stop cars to give her a ride back to her family for Christmas, which, I mean, it's sad, but till we figured that out, is like, what is going on? You know, because, there's always the Christmas tale, like Charles Dickens, where you hear about the ghosts of Christmas and things. So Christmas is kind of a ghosty time of year.
Totally. Yeah. And it's like, imagine 2 adults and 4 kids like packed in a VW Bug. I'm pretty sure it was the Bug.
I think we're in the 510, the station wagon.
Oh, were we? Okay.
That's how I remember it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I just remember
Yeah.
I was in the back,
Oh, in the way back.
in the way back,
Yeah.
and so it was like I got the view. So we were
Oh,
like
man.
driving away of like
Yeah, you were in the fishbowl.
I was in the fishbowl, and just like I remember Cena like screaming, freaking out, like what is going on, and like
Yeah.
mom telling dad, just keep driving, just keep driving. Yeah, being a
Yeah, it was,
being a
I mean,
little
she was
kid.
literally a mad one,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and being a little kid, like in the back of a station wagon, like what what is happening? No.
Yeah, you're all tired and like eggnogged out. You're all bundled up, like taking the late night ride home to like go home and dream about sugar plum fairies and wake up the next morning and open your presents. And you don't expect to see like this specter
Yeah,
emerge out of the fog.
yeah, and it's like leather wrist restraints aren't too far off from like rattling chains and
Yeah.
yeah, looming out of the fog.
Anyways, there's a bunch in there. A lot of like twists and turns. As about as twisty and turny and curvy as Sinead Road used to be.
Yeah.
All right. My next song is another song that was written about, commercialization of Christmas. This is Greg Lake, I Believe in Father Christmas. Had to throw a little bit of prog in for Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is a cool song. I mean,
It's a cool song. It was a little heavy-handed, but
a little heavy-handed, but yeah, you can't forget everything at Christmas though.
true.
Got to think of others too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, kind of the promise of Christmas. That type of thinking should be spread throughout the rest of the year. Like
Peace on earth, goodwill towards men.
yeah, it's almost hypocritical to like not try and have glad tidings for the rest of humanity
Right.
throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
January 1st. Like, get out of my way. Get off the road.
Right. Yeah. I love the way Greg Lake sings.
Yeah, he's got a cool voice.
He used great effect in both his solo albums and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and when he was in King Crimson
Nice.
as well. But King Crimson doesn't have any Christmas songs as far as I know.
Yeah. So my next pick isn't really a pick, and it's not even a song. This is kind of a cheat because you can't talk about John Denver and the Muppets Christmas album and Christmas special without talking about the other Muppet musical Christmas classic.
Yeah, this has been mentioned in previous episodes.
Yeah. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. It's one of my traditional Christmas watches. It's only like half an
Same
hour
here.
long. Like, it's good. So this is the scene that first introduces the villains in Emmett Otter's
man.
Jug Band Christmas.
Oh man. Little did they know that was the future competitors at the talent show.
Yep.
Oh man.
I love
Yeah,
that.
if you've never seen that before, or even if you have seen it, that's a good one to watch at Christmas.
Yeah, it's got a lot of great songs in it. A fun Muppet.
Yeah, and our mom
weirdness.
used to like sing like that too,
Mm-hmm.
to like make us squirm and embarrass us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, stop singing like his mother.
Yeah, I almost put River Meets the Sea. Well, but I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sobbing too much.
Yeah, just watch it this Christmas season.
Yeah.
Check out Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
I love the exposition in that. We're not birds. We're a jug band practicing for the talent. Why would you tell a bear riding a snow machine?
Snowmobile. Oh, man.
We're not birds. All the songs from Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
River Bottom Nightmare Band rules.
Totally.
You know, we like all kinds of music on this podcast, but you know, we definitely like plant our flag in the heavy metal, hard rock end of things.
Mm-hmm. So what you're trying to say is that grass does not grow where we stop and stand? I thought
River Bottom Nightmare Band.
There you go.
Okay. Speaking of hard rockin' bands.
Yes.
This next one is AC/DC, Mistress for Christmas. That's from the 1990 album Razor's Edge. No downers at Christmas, but they wrote that song about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
How rich people can get away with things that like normal people can't.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Well, you know, it's a factoid.
Yeah, it's historical.
And it's pre Simpsons down the escalator prediction.
Yep. I do want to talk about how I had 2 Muppet songs on the playlist and how I think Brian Johnson should be an honorary Muppet.
He at least needs a Muppet like based on him.
He doesn't need one. Like he is. Like he's got like the Brillo pad hair. He wears that like trilby hat like all the way down so you can't see his eyes. And then he's got the voice. Like he is a Muppet. Like he's the most Muppet human being that's ever lived.
Oh, so you're saying this is my Muppet submission to the playlist? Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, do you disagree that Brian Johnson is basically just a living Muppet? Like,
no, he's
a Muppet
with his sweatbands.
Yeah,
he just needs like little sticks.
Yeah,
like going to his sweatbands on his wrists.
Well, no, he became
to move his arms around.
He wished upon a star, and he became a real boy. This is like coming from a guy who put 2 Muppet songs on there. Like, I'm not disparaging Brian Johnson. I love the guy.
No.
Like,
of course not.
You just have to go back.
Who wouldn't want to be a Muppet?
Yeah, and like, who wouldn't want to be an AC/DC? Come on, like.
Yeah, there's only one downside to being a Muppet.
What's that?
Well, I don't know. You're 50 now. Have you had any proctology appointments?
Yeah. That was the metaphor I started using when I worked at the post office. Yeah, the polite way, like when people would ask, and it would be like, okay, how can I tell them what's going on without like having to explain?
Telling them what's going on.
Yeah. And it's like the PG way I learned to describe it was, if the post office is Kermit the Frog, Jeff Bezos is Jim Henson. They're like, oh,
yeah.
He's got his hand all the way up there. Anyway.
Yeah. Those are 2 of the most tired comedy routines. The certain age doctor visit and the like, and then like going through the airport, like flying somewhere.
Oh yeah.
It's like, dude, come on, just like come up with some jokes.
Yeah, or like revisit some classics.
Yeah, if you're going to do the same material as everybody else, do better stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways,
speaking of classics,
it's not a comedy critiquing podcast.
Welcome to Punchlines, the podcast where we explain comedy. So we brought up Mom and the influence that Mom had on our lives and musical tastes, in spite of her singing like Emmett Otter's mom. So when I got the car after mom and dad passed away, there were a couple CDs in the glove box for when they'd like drive out to visit Kari and stuff. Most of them were audiobooks, and then it was like, I don't know. I'm not into
Tom Clancy stuff or something.
like Tom Clancy stuff I could have been into, but it wasn't Tom Clancy stuff. It was what's the other dude they were into?
Jack Reacher.
Yeah, Jack Reacher, and there was another author, like Jack Reacher's the character.
The guy that always wrote about like horse jockeys and stuff.
Well, no, those would have been cool too. I don't know, like just that, like the super problematic, like hawkish, right wing.
Oh yeah,
political justice fantasy kind of stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, like the American white guy goes and like takes out a bunch of terrorists, or, whatever.
Bunch of Terrys.
Yeah. Bunch of Terrys.
Check out the Terrys, man. Some bunch of Terrys on this plane.
Oh man. I showed that to CNN and Alan and they freaked out. What?
I forgot.
Any Terrys? Come on here.
Airplanes are bad comedy material.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot all the lines. Oh man. Key and Peele.
That's because they're funny.
Best. Okay, anyway. So CDs, mom's car. So one of them was the Kingston Trio. And I remember mom loving the Kingston Trio. And I was like, all right, how many times can I listen to Anger Cavalry or this
Tom Dooley?
Yeah, the Tom Dooley song's pretty good. But like how many times can I listen to like the CDs, the handful of CDs that I had? I had like one of those big binders, but like it often ended up in the back of the Subaru, like binders full of CDs. And so it was like,
all your CDs.
I need something like on hand, like right up here in the glove box, or like the little Subaru door pocket thing. And so I was like, all right, for mom's sake, I'll listen to the Kingston Trio. The album's called The 12th Month Out of the Year, the 12th month of the year. And so it's like, it's all Kingston Trio Christmas songs. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll check that out. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's Kingston Trio. They are what they are. But this one song, the Wassail song, also known as the Somerset Gloucestershire Wassail, really stuck out to me. And it was like, oh yeah, dude, wassailing like predates Christianity in Europe, like total OG Yule tradition.
How folk can you get?
Yeah, it's folk AF, bro.
Yeah, a lot of our mother's musical taste was informed by the folk scare of the early 60s.
Totally, which I am here for. So, without further ado, this is the Kingston Trio, Somerset Gloucestershire Wassail.
Okay, we were always forbidden from going into the pool hall area of the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna have my memory that I'm gonna have in my head of what happened in the pool hall with the older cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they had like steins of beer and they're like singing songs like that.
Yeah, I don't think that was the case.
I don't think that was the case, but since we never got to go in there because we were younger,
yeah,
that's what I'm going to want to imagine was going on in there.
Well, that's what I'm going to do at my clubhouse.
Nice.
The one time, well, that's not actually true. Well, I mean, technically it's true. The one time I got my friends to all get drunk and sing, it was a shanty.
A shanty?
Yeah. Not a sea
nice.
shanty.
Yeah, just a regular shanty.
Yeah. We have to talk about the that album cover.
It's pretty good.
Like the short guys ringing the doorbell. Like they all have Christmas presents. Short guys ringing the doorbell.
The other guys are giving each other wet willies.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So one more thing about the Kingston Trio. The first year I started listening to that album a bunch. One of the people one of the families that lived on my route were potters. And if you're from Sonoma County and you're into pottery, you may have heard of Nichibi potters, Nichibi ceramics. They make just incredible stuff. They're true artisans. So I asked them if they would make me a wassail bowl for wassailing,
cool.
and they did. Cheryl was like,
Nice.
well, what's a wassail bowl? It's pretty much just a bowl with a stand, like a handle kind of thing down on the bottom. She was like, oh yeah, I could do that. So they made it and gave it to me for Christmas that year. So I have the only ever Nichibi wassail bowl.
Nice. Custom crafted.
Yes.
Bespoke.
Yep. In Sebastopol, California.
Are you going to wassail with it on Christmas Day?
I might this year. I did the first year that I got it.
Get your wassail on.
Mm-hmm. I like how they start to tell stories in that song. Well, it's like the song like starts to tell stories. Then it's just like there was an old farmer who had a cow, and so he built a barn to keep the cow warm. And yeah, if you gave us more cider, that would be cool too. It's like,
oh man.
And then there was the dog who burned his tail, and then can I have another beer?
Yeah, they kind of leave you hanging.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what? What about the?
Well, what happened to the dog? Well, wait. Well, yeah. Here's another beer, but finish the story.
Well, did I tell you about the goose who like ate a bunch of spiders? Well, give me some whiskey, and then I'll tell you. Hand waving.
I got it.
What? Yeah. If you let me sit by the fire and give me some cheese, I'll tell you the story about the otter
man.
who had a jug band. Oh, well, I want to hear that. Okay, well, time to go. Got to go to the next house. Hey, buddy.
Christmas memories from when you're a kid, like, there's the Muppet stuff.
Of course.
So there's puppets. There's also like cartoons and stuff. And I have a couple cartoon things on here. This is not an old cartoon, but it's an old song from 1970. Same year that James Brown song came out.
Okay.
A prominent artist made the cartoon to go with this song because it's such a like ubiquitous Christmas song in the African American community. And it's a great song. This is Donny Hathaway with This Christmas.
Man, that song was great.
Yeah, like kind of how your Jackson 5 Christmas song was like just so upbeat and like feel good and stuff.
Totally, but like speaks to like the universal Christmas spirit, like being of good cheer and like loving your fellow man.
Yeah, that song like sets the mood for like the kind of Christmas I want to have and the kind of feeling I want to have at Christmas,
Totally.
Just I love the tubas in there, like the horns. Yeah, it kind of sounds like a Christmas band or something. It's cool.
Yeah, as much as I like the like weird creepy Christmas stuff, like yeah, sometimes just straightforward, like yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those ones like how can you not like that?
Yeah,
it's
so
like
good.
Same with that Jackson 5 thing.
Yeah,
the same kind of vibe.
Cartoon visualization is super cute too.
Yeah, it's cool.
Do you know that the skyline?
Is that Chicago?
Yep.
Cool.
I've been there enough times. I've even recognized it in cartoon form.
Nice. Yeah. Donny Hathaway's cool.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to more of him. Yeah, he's got a cool voice too.
Yeah, it's kind of a Christmas classic kind of song, feel good song.
Yeah.
But it's cool that they made like that little cartoon to go with it.
Totally.
It's really cool.
Man, it doesn't sound like it's from the 70s though. Like it's totally like timeless.
Well, it could be like remastered or something or.
Well, not just that, but it's like it doesn't seem dated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take it right back to white people doing weird crap. during the holidays. So I think we talked about the Clancy brothers in our Irish music episode and how I wanted to include them.
Oh, right.
But I think they're actually Canadian, or maybe American. They're super Irish, but I don't think they are actually born there, or I don't know. I don't know the whole Clancy brothers story. I just know they're not actually from Ireland. So one of the weird traditions, and I'll explain it in the song, is the Wren Boys. And I have one of the traditions I have. It's a holiday tradition, but not a wintertime holiday tradition. Is Memorial Day weekend. My friends and I all go down to this nerd convention. It's our mecca. Like it's the one time a year when like we're not doing anything else for like 4 solid days. Like we're just gonna hang out. We're gonna play games. We're gonna eat good food. We're gonna do fun stuff. No responsibilities. Very few responsibilities. Like we run games down there, so there's some responsibility, but it's a fun responsibility.
Yeah.
So one of the traditions I have is buying a bottle of whiskey that none of us have had before, bringing it down. So I bought this bottle of Bengal whiskey that had this weird dude wearing a like woven straw get up, and it's like, okay, what the heck is this? That all right, some weird Irish thing. And then it was like, bought the bottle, put it in the cupboard, wait for Memorial Day. Randomly, video came up on YouTube talking about the Wren Boys. And it's like, oh, the guy on the bottle of whiskey is a Wren boy. So I'm going to let the Clancy brothers explain it. So this is
Okay.
Clancy brothers and Tommy Makem, the Wren song.
Oh, man. How silly.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a bunch of like boys from the neighborhood like coming around and asking for change?
Yeah.
Bury the rent.
Yeah. So it's parallel with like the wassail. Like you just, caroling and was like Christmas caroling came from wassailing. That it's like you'd go around winter solstice and like sing songs until they fed you, get you to leave.
Oh, man.
It's like the Wren thing is kind of this parallel with that of like, hey, give us some money.
Yeah, if you want us to go away,
Yeah,
give us some money for the new year.
yeah. Bunch of goofy
for candy
kids.
and gum.
Yeah, shenanigans.
Yeah, it had to start somewhere,
Yeah, who knows?
Another weird tradition. Yeah, I also remember carolers coming by the house.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another Christmas tradition in Rincon Valley. The Manns and the Willwrights and people getting together and getting all dressed up and going around house to house singing carols.
Yeah, I remember we did it like as kids too.
Yeah, I remember doing it too. Yeah,
and like
for
I don't know how
for youth activity or something.
Yeah, one of the years I did it, they had rented or borrowed like this big flatbed truck, and they were driving around with 50 kids in the back of this flatbed truck.
Yeah,
I don't know about this. It's like the tail end of the riding in the back of the pickup truck era.
Yeah, I remember riding around in trucks a lot back then.
Oh yeah, me too.
I guess that's the closest thing to like a big sleigh ride or something.
Yeah, I think they had
a flatbed truck
on it too.
Yeah. All right. I'm including this next one because it is a Christmas theme. And like sometimes like you don't always get along with family members.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's differences of opinion. But like this is a time of year to try and like let those things go and like just call a truce.
Mm-hmm.
And I also included it because this is my son's favorite band. And he's the one that shared this song with me. And this is our first year that he's going to be away from home for Christmas.
Man.
So thought I'd put it on the playlist. This is Sabaton with Christmas Truce. Yes, so that one is like based on the unofficial ceasefire that happened all along the Western Front in 1914.
It wasn't all along the Western Front.
Well, not along, but like kind of throughout here and there,
and
different parts of the Western Front.
Yeah, I don't really remember there being that many long-haired Swedes on the Western Front. I mean, I wasn't there, but
were you there? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
I don't know. I have watched the Peter Jackson, the actual footage remastered. Yeah, I read a book about it, and it's like, it's totally an insane story. And like, you know, we made fun of like the 60s folk stuff, and like, we make fun of hippie stuff a lot and hippie dippy stuff. And, you know, because it's pretty easy to. And, you know, they're all.
Well, we don't make fun of a lot of things, but.
Yeah. I mean, we're not mean about it.
We have fun with some of those things.
Yeah. And, you know, because they're all the boomer homeowners and landlords and stuff now. It's not punching down to make fun of hippies anymore. But the like the whole thing of like, well, what if they held a war and peace broke out? It's like, you know, when it's some vapid flower girl saying that, it's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. But then it's like, well, it actually happens, like in one of the most brutal wars ever. And it was like, it happened just like they said in the song, that it's like, you know, it was like a Christmas ceasefire. There was always usually a Christmas ceasefire. And like the English guys heard the Germans singing a Christmas carol and were like, hey, we have the same song. And so they started singing it too. And then it was like a couple heads popped up above the edge of the trench. And it was like, wait, yeah, we're all just like a bunch of like Northern European Christians. Like, why the hell are we fighting? Like, and it was like the soldiers in the trenches had more in common. Well, I mean, ironically, like British royal family, not that they were that involved in politics at the time, but like, you know, the differences were between the politicians and the ruling class, and the soldiers were like, what? Like, this guy over here, like, Fritz was a waiter at the restaurant I used to pour beer at. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's still
the war,
like that.
They were all like the same. And and it still is, that it's like our similarities should unite us and overcome our differences. Because our differences are usually artificial and thrust upon us. And Christmas is an important time to remember that.
Yeah, it's a shame that it's still among us.
Oh, totally.
It just seems like something that should be outmoded by now.
Yeah, and like the generals on both sides found out about it and were pissed.
Oh yeah, totally.
And we're like, stop! If you don't stop doing that, like there will be punishment.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because our grandfather on our father's side that we would spend Christmas Day with, he fought in World War I.
Yeah.
And our grandfather on our mother's side, he fought in World War II. Yeah, I mean, some of my playlist is kind of heavy, I guess, but I don't know.
I can lighten it up by telling a joke, a World War I joke.
Okay, well, let me just say one more thing about this.
Sure.
I put it on here also because, like, I mean, Christmas is a good time to call a truce.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like the divisions we have among us are not as big as they've been puffed up to be, and they kind of come from outside sources.
Yeah.
And so, like, don't get so caught up in something that it has power over your life to like ruin your Christmas or like screw up your family dynamic. Everybody's going to have their own opinions on things and whatnot, but don't let it have such control over you that you can't call a truce for any of the holidays and get together and break bread and have good feelings for each other.
Yeah. And like, even if your side won in whatever recent situation has happened, like, remember that the side that won World War I lost millions of soldiers. It's like,
right. Don't be it's not worth becoming a casualty.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, what's your next pick?
So we go from Sweden to fake Norway.
Oh.
So,
oh yeah, staying with the nobles camp and the clubhouse Christmas theme.
Christmas. Yep. So one of the records that Eric and I had to listen to quite a bit when we were kids was Yogi Jorgensen, and like, even our dad was into Yogi Jorgensen. And
yeah,
it's pretty cornball, but now that I'm an old man, I kind of appreciate just how goofy it is. And
oh man,
so
it's so good.
It's goofy. It's goofy, but in a good way.
Next year we should just do a Yogi Jorgensen Christmas special
For sure. And because I put this song because I assumed you were going to put the song on here. Like, there's still plenty of Yogi in the tank. And
yeah.
And it's like, there's so little on the internet about this guy. Or at least there was like 5 years ago when I was introducing Erica to the phenomena that is Yogi Jorgensen. And apparently he's from Oregon. So maybe the Fox brothers could do some like on the ground research for us. Get to the bottom of the
maybe
Yogi
there's
Jorgensen
a Yogi
thing.
Jorgensen museum.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
In some small town in Oregon.
Yeah. We could be like their only visitors.
Yeah, you have to go like find someone to come open the place.
Yeah. Yeah, some lady that's on the city council or something. Yeah, and it's like, it's such a part of my memory banks that it's like,
it just takes you right back.
Yeah, like it takes me right back, but then it's also like I've couple times like referred to Yogi Jorgensen or Yogi Jorgensen songs like in conversation, and it's like, oh, right. Not everyone
you have
has
no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So like, one of the regulars at my local pub, his name is Oli. And I was like, oh, like Oli Svensson. And he's like, I don't know who that is. It's like,
oh, right. Of course you don't.
Sorry. Never mind. Like, Oli Svensson, King of the Great North Woods? No? Not ringing a bell? Anyway, this is Yogi Jorgensen. Jingle bells.
I just go nuts at Christmas.
Yeah, that's his big one. If you've heard of Yogi Jorgensen, it's probably because of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a goofy dude. Yeah, he does a song called I'm All Pooped Out.
Oh, yeah.
How he's not interested in sex anymore. He wants to eat.
He's just too tired.
Yeah, he just wants to eat. There's a line about how he used to get real hot for the girl that he adored, but now he only gets excited about the smorgasbord.
Oh no. I wonder if Swedish people like think he's hilarious or if they're like insulted by him.
Well, Norwegians, not Swedes.
Well, yeah, or yeah, whatever whatever nationality he's copying. Yeah.
Well, his parents, I think, were Norwegian.
Sort of like how Mike Myers does a Scottish
Exactly.
accent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it kind of has that, like, caricature.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, clearly. Jingle bells. Oh, man.
Yeah. You're speaking for all Norwegians, all native Norwegians.
Yes. We don't think
Okay.
you're...
It's all cool.
It's all cool.
Don't worry. It's all cool to listen to Yogi Argison.
Yeah, even though he's from Oregon.
All right. Speaking of memories and Christmas memories of growing up in Sonoma County,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just love Peanuts because, like, Charlie Brown is totally how I felt as a kid growing up, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's like always having the football pulled out from under you and
Totally.
always struggling to find your place.
Yeah. For a comic strip about kids, like, there was some deep meaning to Peanuts.
Yeah.
There was some darkness and some knowledge and a lot of pain and depression and, like, experience.
Yeah. And Charles Schultz was from Santa Rosa, and he had his ice arena there because, he's from the north.
Mhm.
And he loved ice skating. So he built an ice arena, Snoopy's Ice Arena.
Yep.
And had hockey leagues and stuff like that in California. So, like, a white winter in Sonoma County was really rare.
Oh, yeah.
There's only a couple that I
two.
can remember.
Yeah.
And so if you really wanted to, like, experience that whole thing of, like, the cold and having hot cocoa and getting bundled up around Christmas time and all the lights and,
Mhm.
The Peanuts Christmas or Charlie Brown Christmas is, like, just such an iconic part of our childhood.
Totally.
And then to be able to go to Snoopy's Ice Arena and, like, feel that chill and go ice skating and do all those wintry kind of things that you normally couldn't do in California.
Yeah, but, like, cold, dry winter, not the, like, wet, damp, bone chill Sonoma County winter weather.
Yeah, not the Mark Twain, the coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco.
Yep.
Type of cold. But, like, like to go ice skating and do all those winter kind of things that you all saw in movies and things.
Oh, man. A couple years ago, some friends and I rented an Airbnb up at Lake Tahoe, and I was so excited. I was like, oh, man, Mom knitted me this sweater a long time ago. And it's like, it's always way too warm to wear a sweater in Sonoma County, at least for me. Like, I rarely get cold.
I'm cold all the time.
Maybe I should give you this sweater. But I was so excited. I was like, oh, man, it's going to be awesome. Like, they're not going to have a fireplace, but, like, we saw on the Airbnb website, like, they had, like, a electric or, like, a gas fireplace, and I was like, oh, man, it'll be awesome. And they had the thermostat locked out or whatever.
Oh, man.
And so, like, I turned it way down, but then, like, 30 minutes later it, like, kicked back, and so it was like 74 degrees.
Oh, man.
Like, the whole time. Cooking. And then it, like, it's like a Tahoe cabin or whatever, so it has, like, the, A-frame stick kind of thing. So it had, like, this loft thing in the middle part of the house. And like,
so when you sleep, you're, like, raised up.
Well, no, like,
so
the bedrooms were all down, like, on the ground floor. And it's like I closed the heater vents and opened the window so I could sleep.
Oh, man.
And but like the loft thing had like a poker table and like some lounge chairs and stuff. And it was like, oh man, let's go up there. And like, we brought some board games and card games and stuff. Like,
And it's like 80 degrees
great.
up there.
Yeah. It's like,
Oh, man.
like, I brought some like pajama shorts. I'll be back in a minute. Like, I'm going to go like t-shirt and shorts.
Oh, man.
Looking out the window at snow. It's like, all right. So I never got to wear that sweater when we were up there. That was sad. Anyway.
Oh, man.
So yeah.
Was there snow and stuff?
Oh, ton of snow. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just remember going to the Stillman's cabin.
Oh man.
Like on the north shore of Lake Tahoe during the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to spend a winter in that place.
No.
It was a total shack. But
Yeah.
it was super fun.
It was super fun. Yeah, and a friend of ours, his uncle has a cabin up there. And so like we went up there during the summer a couple times, and it's like there's electricity. I think there's a gas pipeline, but the gas only goes to the stove. Like it's only heated by this one giant fireplace. And so like if you slept, there were a couple bedrooms, but if you and the couch was like a fold out, and if you slept in the living room, like you would be the warmest. It was your job to like keep the fire
Stoke
going.
the fire all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like, that's what I had in mind. Just like, oh man, we're going to be up there during the winter. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to bring my sweater. It's like, nope, I wish I brought a tank top.
All right. Yeah. So my next pick is Vince Guaraldi Trio.
Another trio.
With O Tannenbaum. Oh, man. That totally just brings back the memories. That Vince Guaraldi, Charlie Brown stuff is just...
Oh, yeah. It's so good. It's like, you think like, nah, I'm gonna put some rum in my hot chocolate, or some Irish whiskey in there or something. But it's like, nah, just melt a candy cane in there.
Oh man, totally.
It's just like it's so sweet and just like warm, and it's a blanket, man.
It's so part of what makes the Charlie Brown stuff so timeless too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see some Christmas stuff from like back in the day, and it just seems totally dated now.
Right.
Charles Schultz could have had some popular pop group or something, or music of the time to go along with it.
That's why I was surprised with that Donny Hathaway song, that it's like, wow, that's from the 70s. Like could have been written yesterday. Like, yeah, it's like be timeless with your Christmas music. Like,
a lot of that Vince Guaraldi, Charlie Brown stuff was all recorded at Wally Heider's Hyde Street Studios in San Francisco.
Okay.
Eventually, I'm going to do an episode on all of the albums, not all of the albums, but like all of the amazing music that was recorded there.
Cool.
We've already featured some of it, like Grateful Dead's Working Man's Dead and American Beauty, and Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. A lot of that was recorded there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's just some amazing albums were recorded in that studio. It just,
holy crap.
And including this a lot of this Charlie Brown stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds great.
Yeah. Just that warmth.
And like this.
That place just had such an atmosphere to it.
Yeah. That stand-up bass, like, it's like, it's so subtle, but like totally clear.
Yeah.
It's like, it's way underneath the piano, but it's like, you can still hear every note, and it sounds fantastic.
Yeah. I love Christmas jazz stuff too, because once I was married, like I'm from the North Bay and my wife is from the South Bay. So every Christmas at one point or another, we'd have to drive back and forth through the Bay Area.
Right.
deal with all the traffic. And, if you've ever driven south on 101 through San Francisco, it can be a headache.
Yep.
And if I could put on some nice jazz, there was like no chance of road rage or anything sneaking in, no chance of stress, could always make good time, didn't worry about red lights or yellow lights or anything, just totally like groove through the city.
If you could be listening to Vince Guaraldi at Christmas time and driving across the Golden Gate Bridge, like,
yeah,
that's something special. Like,
yeah. And telling your kids to hold their breath through the rainbow tunnel. And
yep.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, that's called the Robin Williams tunnel now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
To match his rainbow suspenders.
I guess.
They were on Mork from Mork.
Yeah, but it's cool. I play Iron Maiden's Tears of a Clown.
Tears of a Clown.
Yeah, different than the Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson and was it English Beat?
Oh, yeah.
Ska version of the Smokey Robinson. Ska version of Smokey Robinson's version of that song. No, completely different song, but the Iron Maiden one's about Robin Williams.
Oh,
I guess
cool.
Those guys were friends with him.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another like North Bay local kind of guy.
Totally.
I remember with some friends like standing, like looking through the window because we were underage, so we couldn't get into Joe Frogger's nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
But there was shops upstairs in that building, so you could go up there in the hallway, and there was a window that overlooked the stage, so you could go up there and look down through the window and watch the band, like even if you weren't old enough to get into the bar.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I remember standing in there one time and watching the band, and somebody coming up behind us and like, "Hey, those guys are pretty good, huh?" Like turn around, it's Robin Williams.
Whoa.
It's like, what? Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, but the like Christmas jazz like that. Do you know the Havla goat? Like the big Yule goat they have at this town somewhere in Sweden. I can hold it up. It's right here. I have a fleece blanket with the Havla goat on it, but I think the camera's too close. Big Yule goat, and yet another old school winter holiday tradition, the Yule goat. So the Havla goat is this one, and I forget how long they've done it, but it's 40 feet tall, and
Whoa.
It doesn't. Well, let's see. How can I phrase this? Out of like the 50 or 60 years that they've done it, it's only burned down 17 times, but it's famous for burning down. It's
Is it like a
illegal.
Wicker Man kind of thing, or is it?
No, it's just a big thing made out of straw. Well, it's it has like a big an iron frame underneath it. Then it's like it's made out of straw. It's not like people go out of their way, although that has happened, but like it just catches on fire because it's made out of straw. And you do something with flammable with straw enough times, and it's bound to happen. And like it got hit by a car once and burned down. It got like, I don't remember, it got struck by lightning. They like coated it in like anti-flammable material, and it burned down. Like one time, like an American tourist, like somebody said, "Oh yeah, it's I don't remember if it was one of the locals or like it was someone from Sweden though, was like, "Hey, it's good luck if you light the goat on fire." Like,
oh man,
conned this tourist into lighting the goat on fire, and he ended up he had to be in jail at Christmas for a couple days. Yeah, but so they have, because it's famous and because it's famous for burning down, every year for like the last 10 years, they've had a webcam. And so you can find it on YouTube. We can add it. That'll be the bonus song, the second bonus song at the end of the playlist. We'll have the link.
Or we can put it on
Havla goat.
Well, no, well, it'd be better on the playlist.
Yeah, because it's like if you want to just throw something on like in the background, like like a Yule
It's like
log.
one of those fake fireplace things.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. It's a webcam of like this live stream of a
Okay, yeah, let's put it on
like
the playlist then.
town square in Sweden with this goat all lit up, and then like a lot of times they have like total Vince Guaraldi style like Christmas jazz playing, and it's just like
Oh, nice.
it's super peaceful, just like this totally calming, cozy music, and then there's like this. Oh man, it's snowing. Oh look, there's a bird landing on it, and then like you can always make the joke like, oh, hasn't burned down yet. So yeah, like I fell in love with it as soon as I found out about it, and outside my bedroom window is this big empty field. It's not empty. It's
Oh, you want to build one?
There's no buildings. It's just like it's all grass, and there's a bunch of oak trees and some eucalyptus trees and stuff.
Are you going to build one out there?
There's like a creek. So I thought like they're developing on the other side of the highway. They're going to put in a bunch of apartment buildings and do a bunch of stuff. And I thought like, oh man, like how can I like create a like tradition? Like how can I like create something that like, oh well we can't develop there because it's like part of the what keeps Katati weird. And I thought, dude, like there's all this grass, they mow the grass is dry by wintertime. And I thought, man, you could just make some like rebar hoops and like clamp them together. Like you can make a frame pretty easy and wrap it in chicken wire. So it would be like collapsible and reusable. And then you just like shove the straw in the chicken wire. And like create this, like, I wouldn't make it 40 feet tall, but like a 10-foot or 10-foot Yule goat.
Yeah, that'd be
like,
cool.
oh man, like it's some solar powered lights out there. And like, it could be like, oh man, people driving by like Christmas time, like, the highway here is pretty busy, backs up because it comes into town here. And like, oh man, it would like cheer people up. Like, hey, big Yule
That'd be
goat.
cool.
It'd be super cool. And I thought,
Hopefully I really hunters wouldn't shoot at it.
Well, it would be 10 feet tall and made of grass, but
yeah, don't overestimate hunters.
True. Yeah, I've seen some of the decoys. I used to watch Wild Justice. Like, it doesn't matter how fake it is, they're still gonna try.
Yeah.
And spotlighters, man, they're not doing it because they're the, I don't know,
sharpest tool in the shed.
I was trying to think of a gun metaphor though.
They're not shooting with a full load.
Yeah, there you go. They don't have the largest caliber. I don't know. Those all sound like wiener jokes. But no, I just thought, like, do I really want a recreation of something that's famous for catching on fire? Like
right next to your fence.
Like 100 yards from my bedroom.
In a dry field.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah, maybe not.
Like, luckily our last couple of winters have been totally wet winters, so it would have been fine. But
all right, what's your next pick?
Okay, so I brought up the Yule goat because of Vince Guaraldi and the music on the webcam. And this particular goat isn't directly Christmas related, but there is, and I found out recently that it's super popular in the Midwest of watching a particular movie at Christmas time. And it's not a traditional thing in Germany and the German speaking part of Europe. In fact, like most people in Austria have never even heard of the movie. It's mostly an American thing. But like the tradition of watching like homey, cozy movies from like a nostalgic past is like
Uh-huh.
super popular in Germany. And so I think that's like what carried over into the US and then just kind of crystallized around this particular movie. Although like the Central European immigrants and stuff in the Midwest. So Erica was not really a big fan of Christmas, but she would watch The Sound of Music every year at Christmas,
Ah.
like during the Christmas season. And it's not my favorite movie. I have too much trauma associated with that movie. Not real trauma, but
Yeah.
there was yeah. But so I would usually be like in the spare room playing video games or painting miniatures or doing something else while she watched the movie. But then we had this agreement where she would come get me for the marionette scene.
So you have 12 songs. Is that right?
11 songs.
11 songs.
Yeah.
And out of those 11 songs, how many of them have puppets in them?
Crap. Okay. Well, one of them wasn't actually a song, but is Emma Daughter's Jugman Christmas. Yeah. So 3 out of my 11. Okay.
Yeah.
I just can't win.
Heavy.
You make fun of me for squeezing heavy metal into most playlists. You're the one who brings all the heavy metal. Hey,
I'm not complaining about the puppet content. I'm thinking we need more puppets.
Oh, okay. I misread.
No.
I misread your approach.
No.
Okay.
No, this is not. I'm not pulling the older brother thing here.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I think we need more puppet content.
All right.
So we got cartoons and we got puppets.
Yeah. I mean, if there's any time of year that's gonna like help you feel like a kid again, it's this time of year. And like, find joy in fun, cute stuff. Like the world's grim enough. As we've learned from all the devil music, heavy metal you put on the playlist. Anyway, and the Swiss and the Austrians and like the like super northern Italians, like all the people that live up in the Alps really love their alpine ibex. Like it's like Sasquatch is if you're from like California, Oregon, and Washington. Like
Yes, California, Oregon, Washington, British Columbia.
British Columbia, of course.
Yes. But if you're in any other state, you have what's considered a three-toed like skunk ape.
We'll let you occasionally use Bigfoot, but like you don't say the S word. Like
Yeah, get
you
your
don't
own
have-
cryptids.
Yeah. It's not Sasquatch out there. Come on.
No way.
That's a Pacific Northwest thing. And so, yeah, the Alpine Ibex is like this, like, man, they love it. It's like super rare, but they see them occasionally. And like, man, they really fetishize this thing. We went to a museum. I think it was in Switzerland. No, it was in Austria. It was oh man, it was either the Volksmuseum in.
Oh, while you're
Yeah, I
thinking of
can't
that,
remember.
just on a
doesn't
quick
matter anyway.
related note,
Yeah.
O Tannenbaum is based on a 16th century folk song. It's a Silesian folk song,
Mhm.
which it's like an area. It's like part of Poland and Czechoslovakia and Germany.
Yep.
And like it was Prussian, it was Austrian at one point. Since you're speaking about kind of that region, like O Tannenbaum is like based on an old folk song. Not that exact area, but not too far away.
Yeah. All part of the same part of the world. Like people in Austria like in the German speaking part of Europe, like most of them don't really know about The Sound of Music. But we went to a museum and they had a bunch of nativity scenes, like hand carved nativity scenes. And like most of them had alpine ibex in it.
Oh, cool.
And it was like, yeah, I mean, this was carved like 500 years ago. Like they're not going to know what a camel looks like. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So without any more goofing around, this is the lonely goat herd from The Sound of Music. So I have to warn everybody, never go to a museum with me because like I will take everything very seriously and like I love museums like so much, but like I'm also not afraid of poking fun at stuff and if I see something that like doesn't make sense, I will like very very proudly make fun of it, point it out. Or if there's something that like strikes my fancy or makes me laugh, like everybody else wants to hear about it.
Uh-huh.
So when we were at the museum with all the hand carved, super old nativity scenes, every time there was a alpine ibex, I'd be like, "High on a hill was a lonely goat herd."
Oh, okay.
Point it out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like hand carved wooden little goat.
Were there any like little pooping characters in any of them?
No. In Germany, that would be a schmutzneck, and that's a very grave insult.
Oh, okay.
I bet even John Denver could get in a fight calling a native German speaker a schmutzneck.
Yeah, I could see that. Even John.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked you mentioned camels. I liked in the Greg Lake video how he's singing about Christmas stuff and you think he's
I was going to comment
in the
on
snow.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, you think he's in the snow and then it zooms out and he's in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like camels and stuff.
White sands.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Sahara. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But yeah, so we've already heard of reindeer once already. We got the goats and we got these ibexes and then the camels.
Which are goats. I mean,
Well, yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Large ungulates.
Yes.
That can be connected to Christmas in one way or another.
Yep.
We've also talked about war and, how we should do better and how there should be peace in the world. And I think anytime you talk about Christmas, and it might rub some people the wrong way, but, it's like, and traditions and things like that. But like, really, like Christmas, what we're celebrating is the birth of a child. And to tie that in, well, with all the things, with the birth of a child and with Christmas and with reindeer. Oh, and also there's tubas in this song. And I commented on how I liked the tubas in the Donny Hathaway song.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, there's all kinds of red thread that can be tied to all these things on our Christmas playlist. And, like the northern countries and Europe and things like that. Well, on December 24th, a child was born at the end or just after World War II wrapped up. So on December 24th, 1945, Lemmy Kilmister was born. And this next song is Lemmy Kilmister with Dave Grohl on drums and Billy Gibbons on guitar playing the song we already heard from Chuck Berry, Run, Run, Rudolph. Did you know Lemmy was born on Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't put away your red yarn just yet.
Oh,
so
yet another twist in this red thread. I have all the puppets and the kitty stuff. You have all the heavy metal, and I thought I was going to be naughty this year, be on the naughty list because the Pogues use the other F word in their song,
Oh,
but
uh-huh.
you bring the MF word. So,
I didn't bring it.
well, you put it in the playlist.
Well, yeah, I guess I included it on the list, so I guess in a way I did bring it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're both on the naughty list. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. We're going to have to do some good deeds, I guess,
Yep.
to make up for it. So if you could have like a celebrity Santa Claus show up at your Christmas party, like who would you want it to be?
Living or dead?
Living.
Living.
Well, okay, I'll give you another hint at what I'm driving at. And he has to have his own real beard.
Oh, true beard Santa.
Yeah. And like a cool Saint Nick hot rod Santa at the same time with a true beard.
Oh no. Is it what's his name from our
Well, Billy Gibbons playing guitar on this song.
Oh yeah, duh.
Wouldn't Billy Gibbons, like, he would bring cool toys too.
Oh yeah.
How cool would it be to be a little kid and have Billy Gibbons as Santa Claus?
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally
I'm not
forgot
done
you had
yet either.
Billy Gibbons was played on that.
Yeah. So this is from, I think it's a 2008
Call back
Christmas album called
to the
Terrible.
Coggener. I was not
Yeah.
I was not scooping what you were pooping with Billy Gibbons.
Worst. Well, it's not the worst, but it's pretty bad. Album title: We Wish You a Merry Christmas. Well, Xmas.
Mhm.
So a red tie thread to Larry Norman there. We wish you a Merry Xmas and a head-banging New Year. Pretty lame. Some cool songs on here, though. Some cool little impromptu bands thrown together for this album back in 2008. But this band, Billy Gibbons, Lemmy, Dave Grohl, would be a 2/3 band on our Mount Rushmore supergroup episode.
Oh yeah,
because of Lemmy and Billy Gibbons were both some of our picks. So that's kind of cool. And when I talked about 6 degrees of separation, when Chrissie Hynde moved from Ohio to London at first, she was really good friends with Lemmy. And she was just into hanging out with bikers and like hanging out at biker bars and stuff.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, she was friends with Lemmy, and he was always giving her a hard time and stuff. And he said, you know, you ought to start a band. You ought to start your own band. So basically he like, you should play with that guy. And like, hey, you should play with Chrissie. So like Chrissie Hynde has said in interviews that basically the Pretenders would never have existed if it wasn't for Lemmy.
Holy crap. That I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah. So there's some more red thread to like connect all your stockings and ornaments together.
Yeah.
And I had to give you the whole little fake out about like a child being born on Christmas.
Of course.
I had to lead for a while there.
all in good cheer.
Yeah. But if that's your jam and that's how you celebrate, this is a great time of year for that too.
Totally. Yeah. It's just a great time of year. Like it's the winter time. It's you know, in the northern hemisphere, days are short, nights are long, it's cold. Yeah. You should celebrate.
Yeah. And don't let anybody tell you what you should celebrate either.
Oh, 100%.
Like, celebrate how you want to celebrate it.
Yep.
So start your own traditions. Traditions are great, but always start your own tradition too, to make it even more special. All right. What's your last pick?
So my last pick is a parody of a song I was going to add to the list.
Some more comedy, huh?
Yeah.
Novelty and comedy. There's
Yeah.
another thread running through our list.
One of my favorite Christmas songs when I was a kid was The Little Drummer Boy. It was always like the most interesting and lively version. And then I think I've mentioned before about like things that like jerk tears out of me and
Mm.
like noble sacrifice and stuff like that. And the like humility, like true humility and like generosity, like true generosity, like really gets to me. And so the little drummer boy, like not having anything else to give, like, oh, he sees like the wise men giving their kingly gifts and stuff and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, all I have is this drum. Drum isn't even mine, but like, here's what I can give is my talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that chokes me up.
Yeah. I almost included like the Bing Crosby, David Bowie version.
Yeah. Which I thought about adding.
Timeless classic.
Yeah. And it's like
maybe could have, should have, would have been on the list.
Well, in a special way, it is. Yeah, it's like that song, like unlikely duet, but like they pull it off. Like it sounds great, and it's like,
well, it's bringing generations together too.
Yeah,
you know, it's like,
yeah. And so one of my brothers from the Christmas trenches was my coworker Nate, and we nicknamed ourselves the Step Brothers because we found out shortly after working together that like we don't have a whole lot in common. Like he's super into sports, I'm not into sports, but like we have the exact same like sense of humor. Like we both just like it just had the same like weird energy. And it was like we found out soon after working together that our secret favorite movie of all time was Step Brothers. Like,
oh man,
you know,
you don't want to admit that that's your favorite movie ever.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're going to choose like, it's Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back
or
Citizen Kane or the Seventh Seal or like, you know, something like that. Pulp Fiction, you know. Pulp Fiction's a good movie. Or, you know, like, dude, I just found out that some friends of mine had never seen The Great Escape.
Oh, man.
I don't even remember what made me think about it. I think I was cooking and started whistling and was just like, dude, The Great Escape theme is cool.
And we started off like the first couple minutes talking about favorite movies.
Yeah.
You know, like around this time of year.
Yeah. And so, you know, one of my favorite movies of all time is The Great Escape. Like, and so it was like after making dinner and whistling the theme while making dinner, I was just like, okay, well, I know what I'm doing while I eat dinner. And then for the next 3 hours, like, I'm watching Great Escape. Like,
oh, man.
Yeah. And so I found out some friends of mine had never seen Great Escape. And I was like, okay.
What? You're got to correct that.
Yeah. I almost brought that up during the Halloween episode one time. Went to a Halloween party. The theme, like, never go to a Halloween party that has a theme. Like, come on. But the theme was dead celebrities.
Oh, man.
And it was like, okay. And like all the ideas I and the woman I was in a relationship at the time with had, like the hosts were like, oh, yeah, we called dibs on that. And it was like, okay, well, we're thinking about doing this, like, you know, couples or whatever. And it was like, oh, well, we changed our mind and we're going to do that. It's like, dude, like,
oh, man, come on.
And then they ended up being like somebody else anyway. And it was like,
oh, brother,
ridiculous. But so, top it all off, I end up going as Steve McQueen, as Hills, nice. The Cooler King from The Great Escape.
So you just had a baseball and a mitt?
I went to Sears and I got a blue sweatshirt and I had some flight wings and I pinned them inside my collar. Yeah, and some
Nice.
some dungarees.
Oh, I think I remember that costume. Yeah.
And some work boots and a baseball and a mitt. And nobody at the party knew who I was. And they're like, "Oh, I never saw The Great Escape." And it's like, well, you know who Steve McQueen is, right? Is he a baseball player? I was like,
oh boy.
Mhm.
Well, they probably know who he is now because he's like Mr. Cool or whatever.
No.
Still no?
Still no.
Hmm.
Yeah. So my other friends, the more recent friends, the people that I'm still friends with, they've at least heard of Steve McQueen. And it's like, well, dude, The Great Escape. Like it's the best movie. Anyway.
Yeah. It's one of those ones that you watch periodically.
On a tangent. Yeah. Or if it's like back in the day when it was on cable, it's like, oh, I'm sitting down for the next 2.5 hours. Missed the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I own. When I talk to my one friend that lives up here about movies and stuff, it's like, well, are you going to have the DVD in your bunker?
Right.
You know? Yeah. And like, I actually do own a copy of The Great Escape.
Yeah, I've got the DVD. It was streaming, so I just watched it there. But I have a framed picture of Steve McQueen on the anachronistic.
The motorcycle jump thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
Anachronistic German military triumph.
Right. The German triumph. Yeah, like Ludwig's really into like, he wants to get into adventure motorcycles, like adventure bikes, they call them ADVs.
Yeah.
And, but he's also into classic bikes. And like, I really want to convince him, like, well, we should just build a couple desert sleds, you know, like those on any Sunday, like Triumph desert racing bikes that guys used to ride back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Because like you could ride them off road and you'd have this classic bike and, you know, it'd perform well, but it wouldn't be like a total like motocross or anything. But like, it'd be so cool to like do adventure bike traveling, like on an old classic Triumph.
Yeah, it's just the maintenance and like that's kind of a young man.
You can make them run good. They can be reliable.
Yeah, that's true.
You build them right. I mean, that's what they rode around back then and did world travels on back then.
Yeah, but then there were also books like Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Mechanic. You would ride until you couldn't, and then you'd stay there and, you know, eat tacos and whatever the local food is. And
they were riding 2-up on like a little Honda or something.
Yeah, true. But, you know, like,
yeah,
it part of the thing was like, oh, well,
we also talked about adjusting the valves and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, oh, we're stuck here for like 5 days while we have this part shipped. You know, we'll soak up some local flavor waiting to get back on the road. Anyway, tangent on a tangent on a tangent. So my coworker Nate and I discovered that our secret favorite movie of all time was Step Brothers. And so we have this like spiritual connection, John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. And so anytime they work together, it's like, oh, well, this is yet another sacred text.
Really?
Yes.
Every time?
Every time.
Okay.
Talladega Nights.
That's fair.
So this is Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly as David Bowie and Bing Crosby doing Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy. You're welcome.
Oh man, some more Vince Guaraldi at the end there.
Yep. So Christmas wasn't over until Nate and I had watched the last minute Christmas gift idea monologue from Christmas Vacation.
Oh man.
And Steve Martin's If I Had One Wish this Christmas season on YouTube. We just put it on, like pull it up on YouTube, and like we worked right next to each other, so we just listened to it while we were working. And like bosses would be like, "Get back to oh, you are working." Goof it off. Oh, you're working. Yeah, we can do both.
Man. Yeah.
Bah humbug. Yeah.
It's called multitasking.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of their movies for a while. My daughter's friend came over. She was like home from college. So she like came by and they were making gingerbread cookies and stuff. And then they were watching Elf too at the same time.
Nice.
It's like,
Elf is so good.
That's a pretty good one too.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like, I know that's super cheesy, but like, that is them singing. They're pretty good singers.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, not terrible. And man, they really held out for the punchline too.
Uh-huh.
Made you wait for it.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays and a great New Year. Hope 2025 is a good year for everybody.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of all these movies, whatnot, next month, we're kind of doing the Hollywood thing. We're going to have our favorite fake TV bands, our favorite TV theme shows, our favorite movie soundtracks.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to be
alert.
visiting Tinseltown. We're going to take the tinsel off the tree and we're going to put the tinsel on the town.
Sorry. I derail you.
It's okay. No, it's just, I'm trying to be funny, and then it's like he just played a Will Ferrell thing, and it's like, don't bother. Oh, yeah, and we talked about comedians, too.
Yeah, a bunch.
Yeah, hopefully you can find some Christmas cheer or holiday cheer listening to our podcast or putting our playlist on if you want some Christmas music.
Yeah, we love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Yep. We'll see you next week. Bye.
See ya.
Checking out music with my bro. Willing to dig it, yes or no. Here we go on with the show, the Hell Bro Podcast.
That was to have been our last act. Normally, we wouldn't allow any last-minute entries, but these kids have come a long way, all the way from River Bottom. Yes, these River Bottom
Come on,
boys
let's
have
clear
brought
it
us
away
a
there,
different
huh?
kind of
Come
an
on,
act.
clear it out.
What
Where you
they've
want
done
this
is
stuff?
put together a
Yeah, how's that
genuine
right there, huh?
rock
Yeah,
band.
that's good.
So
All right,
let's
where's
welcome,
the first
please,
one?
tonight's
Where do
last
you want this at,
contestants.
huh?
Here they are, the rock group known as The Nightmare.
We think what we want. We do anything that we wish. We got no respect for animal, birdie, or fish.
The grass does not grow on the places where we stop and stand.
River Bottom Nightmare Band. We know we're a mess.
A tie does not like to be clean.
We don't brush our teeth.
'Cause our toothache can't help but stain.
We don't wish to learn Nightmare Band. In your face!
Oh, we practice our groove.